put in this strip, and this is a practice, right? So this is just a piece of plywood with a maple veneer on it, and it's very thin on the surface, right? It has multiple layers, but the maple is only on the surface there. That's good, actually, practice, because we want to inlay this and make it totally flush, and since there's not much veneer there to work with, you'll learn how to do it better. Now this is a fairly easy process. We're going to use one of these small routers, in this case the orange rigid router, and it has in there a 1/4 inch bit that is the same width as the strip. Where I locate this on the practice is not critical. I'm going to go this direction though. I get a piece out of the garbage can. This can be any piece of hardwood or plywood, and joint the edge so that it's nice and flat. This is going to be a base, fence, excuse me, to run the base of the router along it to keep it straight. The router has a nice square base to match. You'll want 2 clamps to hold it steady. One will not do the job. One clamp will just be a pivot point. So make sure you got 2 clamps on there so that fence is not moving. Now let's set up the router. The depth right now is set up for the full thickness. I'm actually going to come off of that a little ways, about half of that thickness. The reason why is because guitar tops and bottoms are about 1/8 of an inch thick, and we can't be inlaying all the way through it. About half of that, a 1/16, is about the maximum you can go on an inlay. And this is just a little heavier than a 1/16. And it's not needful to go that deep anyway. So let's go about half that depth. Open up that, and then this little dial right here will adjust. And I'm just eyeballing to half. Its thickness. Okay, I'm going to plug my router in and run it. Okay, I've got my router plugged in. My fence is tight. So the only challenge here is I got to stay tight against this fence, right? It's easy to kind of wander off. Even just a little bit will give me a hole later on. So I'm going to start off of the wood. My on button on this router is right there. You pull it out. I'm adjusting the speed a little bit. My speed's about a 2. Just I'm pushing into the fence as I go. This is awesome because I just did the mistake. Take a look. So see how this wanders out right there? And as I put this in, you see my hole right there? Right, so as I was coming along, it drifted off the fence. Let's set up and do it the right way. shift it over a ways. Stand-up affair. There we go. Your hands away from that bit, and as you lay it down on its side, right, not on the bit, you'll break it on the side. Okay. I'm going to get this fence out of the way. I like this clamp though, holding my work in place. Okay, so this doesn't fit exactly yet, right? It's just a little bit small, or this is just a little bit big, whichever. And that's a great thing because we're going to bevel this edge just slightly. Let me show you what I mean. So take a look at my drawing here. So we have cut a channel that looks like this in the top of the wood. And the wood that goes into it is this, right? So we're going to slide this down into it. And it's just a little too big. So we're going to take and sand the edge at a slight bevel, like that, so that it will just drop down in and fit tight, like that. That's what we want. I'm taking that edge and I'm just slanting, right? So that's square. I'm going to put it at a slight angle like that. Let's see if that's enough. Oh, beautiful. That's all it took to drop it down in there. So nice. Okay, let's put some glue underneath it and some pressure. Let's see, I'm going to mark this up so I don't forget. Put some yellow glue in there. Just enough to keep it down. And then okay, now we need to put some pressure on it. This was the fence that I used, and this will make a great caul, C-A-U-L. A caul is a device used to hold something else. The only problem with this caul, piece of wood, is that I'm going to glue it down if I'm not careful. So get yourself some packaging tape. And this yellow glue won't stick to the packaging tape. Pressure is what makes that glue set, and it's going to require 15 minutes for it to set. Set time is 15 minutes. Cure time is overnight, 24 hours. but it'll set in 15 minutes, and that's when we can work on it again. All right, this has sat for at least 15 minutes. Longer, fine too. I'm going to clean up some of the excess glue here. So I really don't need it around. Okay. So now we got to clean it off and make it flush. And you can clamp this to the table and work on it, but it's nice to have it in one spot. So how do we make this flat? Right, so inlay, the idea is that it lays flush with the surface. So we got to get rid of that excess right there. We can sand it. We got a couple of options here. We can sand it with an orbital sander, but I find that this is not such a good idea because it rounds things off, and so it won't make it nice and smooth. We can use this to clean it up afterward though, and I'll show you that. The sanding block looks great. It keeps things flat, but it's a long time sanding it. So the best option, in my opinion, is to use this called a card scraper. It's just a piece of steel that has a hook on it, and if you feel it, right, it's even peeling glue off of my finger there. The way I want to show you this, the scraper, the way it works is the edge of the steel, right, comes down like this, and right here at the edge it's got a hook on it, and that's what cuts. So I take that edge and hold the scraper like this, your fingers going back, right? So now I can bend it and I give it an apex right there. That's what I'm using to scrape, and you can see how I can just peel up that wood very quickly. Now this takes some getting used to. Card scrapers aren't, there's a bit of a learning curve to use a scraper, but once you get it, it's really efficient and fast. And look how quickly I'm removing this material. Okay, so I've got both hands on the edge like this, and my thumbs go right where I want that apex to be, and I pull it back. And then I put that hooked angle about it like this, and then I push. And I'm pushing into the wood. If you're not having success, then change your angle, see if that helps. Try a different place, like instead of trying to cut from right there, cut from right there or right there. Right, so then I just shift my, because just like any edge, there can be there's a sweet spot that will cut really well. Okay, so I'm getting rid of all this excess, and it's easy to clean off the center, not so easy to clean off the ends. But look at that. I mean, done. So nice. Now, probably not a bad idea is to buzz over it with the orbital sander. So I don't know that it's all that necessary right now. However, when you go to do this on your guitar, you'll want to clean the whole back anyway. So I'm using a 150 grit, that's the yellow one. Alright, I'm out. I think I'll clean my drawings off.